The Flicks Book Club.
The Flicks Book Club.
Yeah, I'm not doing this.
Welcome, everybody, to Netflix Book Club. My name is Dennis Rooney.
I'm Steve McDonald.
KC Arora.
This week, we watched The Blues Brothers, 1980, directed by John Landis, starring Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi.
Not Jim Belushi.
Not Jim Belushi.
No.
He did the remake, though, which I think we'll get to that later. This movie is about these two dudes who were in a band. They're brothers. They're orphans, and one of them gets out of jail. The other one picks them up. They find out that their old orphanage is going to get knocked down because they owe $5,000 in taxes. So they decide to get the old band back together to raise the money so they could save the orphanage. And while this is going on, they meet a bunch of people who want to kill them and stop them.
Noble efforts.
Noble efforts. I picked this movie because I've never seen it. I'm a comedian and I've never seen The Blues Brothers. And
Which
people
is
gave me-
incredibly surprising.
Same here.
I've also never seen Animal House. This is like the
Same
first
here.
movie I've seen with Belushi.
How are you guys... Never mind.
First of all, Belushi's a Chicago guy, so I understand why you have like a need to see him.
Well, Belushi's
Steven.
considered like a comedy legend.
Right,
And
I
I don't know if
understand
I
that.
see it or if I get it.
But
So
when
that's
someone
why I picked
dies,
this
everyone's
movie.
a legend in what they do.
That's true, too. That, a little martyrdom.
He was a legend at baking. You know?
So, after watching this movie, I'm going to go with Don't Stream It.
Wow.
I liked this movie. It was very funny, but this movie is 2 hours and 12 minutes long.
It's very
and there's
true.
a lot of musical numbers in it. It's not quite a musical,
Right.
but there's about 8 musical sessions that
You
are
counted?
all 5 or, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
I lost count. Every time I thought we were done, there'd be someone else would start breaking out in song and dance. It's laden with cameos. There's a lot of really funny parts in this, and I've never seen Aykroyd better than in this movie, but it's too much of for a casual watch, man. No. You should see this movie once, maybe, but it's definitely, I don't think it holds up that good.
Steven?
I hate you both.
What?
This is going to be me. This is just going to be me
Sorry,
having
man.
to just defend this movie.
I wanted to like this
Well, what do you
movie
got-
more.
what-
I'm
What's-
going with Stream It.
Yeah.
It's a classic. It's great. It's late 70s, early 80s comedy. I don't know what you guys got a problem with. I already know he's going to say don't stream it.
He doesn't like anything but...
He doesn't like anything but Noah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's
You're
all.
going to hear about that for weeks. Man.
Right. I get it.
Maybe he liked it. Let's see.
Stream it.
Oh!
I sat on this for a long time.
Really? You were on the fence? I was on the fence.
I was
but-
sitting on that. Man, I was Humpty Dumpty with this whole situation. I really was, and I was like, I don't know. The thing is, this, it's it's such a it's a long movie. You're right. It's a long movie,
And it feels long.
And it feels long. And there are points where I'm on my iPad just going, "What am I doing?" And then there are parts where I'm
That's not a good movie watching experience.
Right,
You're
it's
giving it
not.
a stream it and you were on your iPad?
No, I mean, I was on my iPad, but at the same time, it's just like, but the cameos are incredible. It's a lot of music numbers. And, I was talking this movie with a friend of mine, and actually my friend's son. And he's like, I saw this, and, I didn't really like the dance numbers. And I was like, I love the dance numbers. And I realized because I think
Bollywood.
it's Bollywood, man. It's a
Bollywood,
culture, and I can't escape who I am.
Okay.
And I think it's just worth watching. The music alone is really good. The intentions were really solid. I mean, I could give a damn less about Belushi. I don't really know him. I don't have.
What about Aykroyd?
Aykroyd was great.
Do you think they were fun? Like, I
It was
thought they
the
were
best
funny.
time I've ever seen Aykroyd act. So,
All right, so
You guys haven't seen enough early Aykroyd stuff.
all right. Well,
I think you might be right.
flicksbookclub.com. Be sure to check that out.
Yeah,
and
check
we'll-
out the website. We should
and-
probably plug that.
Right.
Check out the
My bad.
website, the Twitter, all that stuff.
Right.
Come back.
Stuff.
Me and KC are going to destroy Dennis.
Right. All right. So we'll take a break
yeah.
and we'll come back and we'll discuss it.
Car's got a lot of pickup. It's got a cop motor, a 440 cubic inch plant. It's got cop tires, cop suspension, cop shocks. It's a model made before catalytic converters, so it'll run good on regular gas. What do you say? Is it the new Bluesmobile or what? Fix a cigarette lighter.
And we're back. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I liked it.
I'm-
I liked it. You know how Casey will always be like, I love this film. A lot of great things about it.
Right.
Don't stream it.
Right.
I kind of feel that way with this movie.
Yes.
And here's the thing, too, is that after watching and reading up on it a little bit, like
before you continue, I just want to
Yes.
say, me and Steven's like, we're gonna destroy you. I'm not gonna try to destroy you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I get
I'm
your
not
point.
trashing the film, man,
Right.
but it's a long movie to watch, and
It
it
is.
feels long, and it's a little dated. That's why another reason I'm surprised you liked it, Casey, is you always have a problem when people are wearing old clothes that throws you out of reality.
You're right, but the thing is, it's something about like most of the costume is just Belushi and Aykroyd in these black suits.
They are the best thing
And those
about
are
the movie.
timeless suits, so it's easy for me to ignore what garbage everyone else is wearing.
I just want to see more Belushi and Aykroyd talking to people. I love
Right.
the dialogue and just the bits were the funniest thing. Oh
Yeah.
my God, when they walk in and when they walk into the flop house and they're walking up the stairs and the old guy just turns, "You got my cheese whiz, boy?"
Yeah.
And Aykroyd has his cheese whiz. No explanation.
Right.
Just small stuff like that make it a really funny movie. Like there's so many really good bits in
When
this
they get
movie.
the car, when Aykroyd first picks up Belushi from jail, from Joliet, and it's a prison outside of Chicago, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he picks him up and he's like, "What kind of crappy car is this?" And he's like, "Hey, listen, I traded in for a microphone." He's like, "I understand." And then he's like, "Well," and he tells him about how good the car is because it was a former cop car, and he was like,
Cop engine, cop shocks,
Right.
cop
"Cop struts,
144
cop
cubic inch.
struts,
Yeah.
144 cubic inch engine,
480
cop
horsepower.
tires, cop brakes,
right?"
cop.
And he's
Very
like,
quotable movie.
And he's like, "Well, do you like the?" So he's like, "So do you like it now?" And Belushi's just like, "Yeah, fix the lighter."
Fix the
Yeah,
cigarette
it's
lighter,
like,
yeah.
that's what it is.
They have great chemistry, man. I can see why the movie was huge. And here's the thing: at the time, if I saw this movie when it came out, I would have probably loved it. That's one of the things that helps this movie is that it's laden with cameos. And at the end, they do
right,
a little.
and good cameos.
Well,
Yeah.
at the end, they do a montage. They are good cameos.
They're
But I'm
legendary
ignorant.
cameos.
I am ignorant and a casual fan of a lot of things.
Right.
And when they do the montage at the end showing all the cameos, I recognized probably 4 out of 20.
I 100% agree with you. And
4 out of 20.
I'm
The
the same
rest,
way.
I was like, I didn't even realize that was a cameo. I
Right.
thought that was like a bit player.
Right.
Like someone who got paid a day rate to
Yes.
do 4 lines.
The reason why I think that what makes this movie good, the cameos, the aspect about that is you've got these guys, these comedians who made this movie, and they put all these incredible artists, all these singers, all these incredible musicians. And when you watch that, it's just like, it's almost like, oh, wow, this is sort of like a history lesson type thing. It's like they put these people in this movie. They wanted to make a movie. They wanted to make a funny movie. And then they're like, you know what? Why don't we also add all these amazing artists that we love? And that's what I like about it.
Well, and to be honest, it's like when I look at the movie, it's one of these things. It's like never before or possibly again could you explain more in a movie two comedians wishing they were rock stars.
Right.
yeah.
Like just there's
That band got a
entire
life
thing
of its own.
like being a comedian and having that moment where you're like, all I'd really want to do is be a rock star.
yeah.
And have it, and it's like rock stars have that where they're like, oh, I wish I could do comedy. And
No,
You hear
I
that
don't-
a lot.
I don't think-
I've heard that before.
I've heard that before, yeah.
Rock stars always want to be comics, and comics always want to be.
I've
wanted
heard-
to be rock stars.
I've heard
you know?
comics want to be
Yeah.
rock stars. I've never heard rock stars. It's always, they never say, I wish I, they always say, oh man, that's so crazy how you do that. Because it's just like, wouldn't you want to, I don't know, I think that like the instruments and the women that they get it's just at such a higher level that, why would you want to, yeah, it's easy to them. It seems crazy and sometimes easy to tell jokes, but I still think that they would, if at the end of the day, they'd rather.
Well, it's not. I'm
prefer-
not talking about the actual life of doing either thing, but I mean like the mentality of like I want to go up and play music and like rock out and have people bug out over
Right.
me by like
Yeah.
in
Because
a crazy loud rock.
writing material is tough and irritating.
Yes, but
Yeah.
then some people who play music like rock stars. Like I have a message. I want to talk to people. I want to deliver a message. But they're rock stars. They're
Right.
not comics
or
comedians,
it's just
you know?
this thing that like comedians wish that they could get people to go crazy the way that musicians do, and musicians wish that they could hold the attention of an audience without any kind of like
Right.
almost in the sense it's like guitars and pianos and drums and everything is like a gimmick to like hold the attention of an audience when you're a musician. So it becomes this thing of like the ability to stand on stage and just hold all of those people in the palm of your hand as a comedian is like a magic power that a lot of musicians do not possess.
But to add to that, I think comedians also like the fact that when you hear a song, you can hear a song a million times.
yeah,
When
That
you hear
too.
a bit, I mean, you got 5 or 6 times until you're like,
And even
hey, didn't I see you do that last time? And you're like, I got to write material again?
Are Belushi and Aykroyd like musically talented?
I don't know.
Because it started as a skit on SNL, and then the band kind of became a thing. They actually wound up putting out a couple albums, I think.
Yeah.
Which is insane, because especially in the movie, they're really doing all covers, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, I think they always did covers.
They only do covers? They no original tunes?
I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that they only did covers.
Yeah.
It's just that it's that kind of spirit of like, you know, I mean, you got to remember this is coming off a time period. We don't really have like the standards anymore.
Right.
Like there used to be kind of this thing that was like musicians. It wasn't like, oh, you're a cover band. It was like, no, we do the standards. Like there's like we record, you know, there's lots of people who have done that.
Yeah. And
they were kind of coming off of that era and, you know, and really playing into this entire thing. You got to remember, they came up in the 60s and the 70s in Chicago.
Yeah, this music was kind of a throwback.
And, well, the thing is that Chicago was just like, is like the blues. It's a blues mecca when it comes to like a certain kind of blues. And they grew up with all of those things.
Certain kind of blues. It's just the way you said that.
Well, no. It's like a mixture between. It's a mixture between.
I know that
Delta
different
blues
regions, different
and
style
rock and
blues,
roll
yeah.
and stuff like that because everybody had come up from the South to Chicago, and so there's like the history of that built into the entire thing. That's essentially like the love of those things is essentially like Aykroyd and Belushi being in Old Town in Chicago where Second City is, where they were doing shows at Second City, making no money, getting done with them, and getting wasted and going to like blues bars that are around that area and drinking until 3 a.m. Like that's what this movie really is like these guys who like, it's like, hey, you guys, like they're coming off of SNL and it's like, you guys want to make a movie? And they're like, oh yeah, we want to make a movie.
It's like a love letter to a city and the style of music.
Right.
And it's funny.
Yeah.
That is a great way to put it.
And
I'm taking that from something else. Someone else described some different movie as a love letter to such and such.
All right, well, that person's a great
It's a great metaphor.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, like, to me, that's the joy of this movie, is that it's kind of a love letter to... It's kind of a love letter to Chicago and, like, the music scene in Chicago and kind of the ridiculousness of Chicago.
And Catholicism.
And, like, well, no, but it's like...
A nod.
A heavy nod.
Yeah.
For the
like
30th anniversary.
Chicago's a very Catholic town.
Yeah, it is.
And Chicago is, like, I think the entire ending with the police and the military and
so
all that
ridiculous.
stuff.
Crazy over the top.
All of that stuff is just
Too
a
over the
reaction.
top.
Well, no. All of that stuff is a reaction to, is like them making fun of, like, the 1968 riots, which they were probably in town for, where it's like they were there when police went completely insane. Like they watched all of the eras of like, you know, of different riots and stuff like that were happening throughout the country, and they saw this massive overuse of police force that was going on in Chicago,
which
at
is
the
really
time.
good. And, you know, to watch now is also another reason why I kind of, you know, lean towards stream it. It's kind of like
you think that the crazy amount of police force used in the film, as opposed to being just a big crazy joke, is really like a political message.
I mean,
guys, you guys are really giving this movie a lot of.
It's
It's a good movie, but I don't think they were like, well, we decided to use excessive police force in the third chapter of the story.
Right.
This way, it's an allusion to the riots that happened 12 years prior. We were around and things were getting crazy. I don't know, guys. I think they were like, how funny would it be if we destroyed 103 cars in this movie?
Right.
And we'll get a bunch of them to be police cars.
Right.
Oh yeah, I think that it's
nod,
that, but I also
you know?
think that it's a nod to this idea of like,
it's probably a nod. Don't get me wrong, but
it's
like,
a nod to this idea that's just like yeah, there's a guy who's got like,
it's a sext.
This entire thing starts, the entire police chase begins with my license is suspended.
Right. Yeah, it escalates into this wild...
Well, that's what gets him pulled over, but then he has 50 moving violations and 100 parking tickets.
And then also, he does start to evade the cops,
so that's
too.
really what it is. I mean, this has been going on for a while.
I know that it's like... And
then he drives
there's
through a
tons
mall,
of things
so,
going on. Well, yeah, the mall thing is
the
really
amount
what
of
it comes
destruction
down
in
to.
that
You know
movie.
what? I'm going to Rodney King this. I think the amount of police force used in this film against Belushi and Aykroyd was totally acceptable. These guys were terrorists, man.
Oh,
These
man,
guys were doing
good
crazy
Lord.
destruction. not.
Yeah.
How much destruction was
So
in this
as
film?
opposed to us trying to convince you, you're going to go deeper into crazy?
Well, hey, if you
Is that
guys
what
want to talk about there being political messages and allusions in this film, then I'm going to say that I'm on the police side. These guys are nuts. They're driving through malls.
I'm not saying that. I just think that like our amount of guns that are facing these guys, it's insane.
The best parts of this movie are, like I said, the jokes, the bits, but like
Right.
I like some of that music, you know, and I enjoyed certain musical scenes. The one with Aretha Franklin was great.
That's what sold me on the movie.
That's when it turned.
That was
for
the
you?
moment when I was like, yeah, man, I can't deny this feeling inside my body.
I'm not gonna lie. Like the first time that I saw this movie, the thing that sold me on the movie was the moment when they get to his apartment at the top of
That's
the
a really
flop
cool
house,
scene.
and they're at the wall, they're at the door where he's about to walk into the place, and the door is shaking because the train is going by, and then they come in and the train's like right there and stuff's falling off the wall.
Yeah.
And the thing is that my sophomore year apartment in school was like that. Like it was like this tiny closet of a room that
How
the
bad
wall
when the train
shared
goes by?
is bad.
Bad. But
Like,
you
if
just,
we
you just
had it-
adapt, you just get used to it.
If we had, and we were a ways away from like the train backed up, my house backed up right against the train, but when you were a little ways away from it, wasn't that bad. But if you opened the window in the summers, you couldn't hear the television.
Oh, really?
It was like every 6 minutes there'd be a train.
And
that's going
Aykroyd's just
by.
like, you barely even notice it.
How often does the train go by? Often
so
enough
often
that you won't notice.
Yeah, so often that you won't even notice. And
I wish I enjoyed this movie more. I wish I enjoyed it as much as you guys.
I
But
mean,
there were moments in this film. There were a bunch of moments where I'm like, when is this scene going to be over? Like, when can we get to the next thing?
Somehow they get there's like a Nazi group that goes after them, and at one point in the movie, they piss off a variety of people. They piss off the cops. They piss off this band,
Country western band,
whose gig that they stole. They piss off a neo-Nazi
who, by the way,
party.
that band was really late.
Right, yeah.
They wouldn't
Super
have even
late.
made the gig.
Right.
Super late.
It was already too late for them. But so they do that.
Thank you. Yes, yeah. You know, another thing with this
Right.
movie.
But then when they're doing there's a chase scene and the Nazis are chasing, the neo-Nazis are chasing them, and then somehow the neo-Nazis go off the bridge. The way they extend the fall of the neo-Nazis' car, it's they're
Absolutely
falling
hilarious.
past Sears Tower for some
Yeah.
This bridge was higher than Sears
And
Tower.
it kept getting higher and higher.
Right, and it was just absurd.
Okay, towards the end with the military and the cops and just the car chase in general. That's what I'm talking about. I don't want to watch an 18-minute car chase. It's not interesting to me.
Wait,
but
French Connection had a real long car
French
chase.
Connection
Yeah.
had stakes, though.
Yeah.
There's a comedy, realistically. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mad
plus
Max Fury
$5,000 at an
Road.
orphanage. I think the
Mad
government
Max Fury
would maybe,
Road was a 90-minute car chase. What are you
happened?
talking about?
Hey, go see it. Hey, I wish we could talk about that film.
I know, right?
But this is the Netflix book club, not the new great movie book club. Because
Right.
if it was, we would talk about Mad Max.
Of course.
Of course.
But so when you're beating a dead horse for a joke, like Family Guy, like they do at the top of the film when the nurse is smacking them both because they both keep cussing or using the Lord's vain name.
Yeah.
And that's very old style comedy where you're going, guys, just stop cursing, she'll stop hitting you. But they're so oh gee, and it just keeps going.
Right.
They eventually save that joke because he falls down the stairs, and who doesn't want to see Fatty fall? In the
Right,
words
of
Chris
course.
Farley.
Pretty
That's
much.
always going to be funny.
I was always
and it
curious
saves
as
the
to
scene.
whether or not that was something he did on his own, because that looked really.
That was him. I looked it up. Yeah, that was him.
It's really painful.
So I liked
Real
the car falling for an extensive period. That really made me laugh. But other times when they beat the horse to death and just keep beating the joke to death, I couldn't. It was boring to me.
Mm. What? Well, I mean, what do you mean beating what joke to death?
Like the car chase,
Right,
like the tons of military force and cops. You know what I mean?
Right.
How long do I have to see these cops running across? It's funny for a second. For
Yeah.
a second.
I just no. See, this is my thing is that I think that certain parts of this movie fall into the realm of where it's like it's funny when it's initially happening, and then it's not funny, and then they keep doing it so long that it becomes funny again. Because
It doesn't do that for me.
No.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Because like with the guys running around and stuff like that at the end is that they start with the hup 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 hup, and then it's like it goes on for a really long time, but then they've got the one guy who's rappelling off the roof and he's going hup 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 hup, and then they pan out to like 8 guys, and now it's 8 guys saying hup 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 as they're like
It's very reminiscent of.
I love it.
Who are the British guys? The British comedy troupe made all those movies I've never seen.
Monty Python.
Yeah,
Right.
felt very Monty Python, that scene when the.
I mean,
arm
yeah,
is
this
piling in,
is
the
this is
people
our
are piling
American
down.
Monty Python. These guys, the Chicago. I think that's.
I don't know. I don't think I'd say that.
I don't know. I think it's the closest thing we got. essentially.
I felt like that was a dig towards American comedy.
I mean,
like if you said that with a British accent, I'd be super defensive.
Right,
No,
you
I
would,
mean,
right?
But since you said it, I'm like, I don't know. I don't
I will
care.
say this is that I would probably say that our equivalent of Monty Python is kind of the first couple years of SNL.
Right.
It's Dan
Yeah, these
Aykroyd,
guys.
John Belushi, Chevy
Okay.
Chase, Bill Murray, Gilda Radner, like all of those people. And we've had a couple of those, but they've always come out of SNL.
Yeah.
Well, this movie comes out in 1980, and these people are extremely popular. Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. And all the people making the musical things are either still at the height of their game. See, that's the thing, is they open with James Brown.
Which
And
is an
that's
incredible
that's the
opening.
biggest one. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's the biggest name. Me
What
and
about-
you were arguing about that.
what
I
about-
think the biggest pull for this movie was James Brown, because in the year 1980, I think he was probably more popular than any of the other.
Then Ray
performers.
Charles?
In
See,
1980,
what I
that's
said.
the
That
one
was
when
my
he went.
rant.
with.
I was like, Ray
Yeah,
Charles.
Yeah.
Then
Ray
Aretha?
Ray Charles.
Then
got
Aretha?
Aretha had been.
Freedom!
Aretha is the original diva, okay?
Yeah, freedom!
Yeah, but like, wasn't she?
Freedom! Sorry, I had to do it a third time.
I don't know. I'm just saying, as me being me watching this movie now in 2015, like I said, some of the music I was just like, oh, who's that? Who's that? What's this?
Yeah, no, there was
if
a
I
lot
saw
of
it in
who's
1980,
that.
I'm sure people were like blown away, like, oh my God, you got to go see Blues Brothers. They got 20 famous people that we all know and love and are
Right,
very-
right. It'd be like as if they took the Billboard Top 20 and literally made them. It essentially, basically like a Taylor Swift music video that I just saw recently, where it's just like a gajillion cameos.
I don't know what that is.
And that's what it is. I feel like I'm alone here. Very, very much.
You're very
much
alone.
Very
You're
much
alone in the wilderness, and
Yeah,
you
but
can fight
that's-
your way out.
But that's the thing, is that like these are important people because of the way that they focus on them for an extended period of time. So but you may not know who they are.
Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons why, besides the dance numbers and the comedic aspect, to me, I'd probably say is one of the least things but I still enjoy about the movie is
you didn't think it was that funny?
I didn't think it was, no, and it wasn't like dying keeled over. There
Well,
was,
no,
was
but
few-
did you laugh out loud like 3 or 4
There
times?
was a couple times where I was like, ha.
That's pretty. Oh, that or
Yeah,
like a,
yeah.
ha!
No, it wasn't like a cat. I didn't go full on cackle.
Okay.
But then there was.
I cackled a bunch during this film.
Oh really?
Yeah, there
I
were
don't know.
some things that were really funny.
I-
The car falling apart at the end.
Right. Yeah.
The fact that they
Okay.
never acknowledge all the crazy stuff. A building explodes and they're in it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they just get up like, oh, we got to go to work, man. Like,
Yeah.
we got this thing to
Yeah.
do. That's funny to me.
Right. Carrie Fisher plays a scorned ex-girlfriend, John Belushi's ex-girlfriend.
I keep doing that too, man.
Right,
I'm
Jim.
like,
Yeah,
Jim, John.
That's what I'm just gonna say. Belushi. Belushi's,
Belushi.
and she's like, at the end she catches up with him. What's funny is like she's sitting there figuring out ways to kill him, but can't seem to do it. It's very Wile E. Coyote,
Yeah.
Roadrunner.
Yeah.
The way that they're doing that, the way she's like, she's looking up flamethrowers while she's working at her nail salon, which is curl up and die.
Which is, another
Very funny.
Yeah.
Very nice little
But
joke
this
in there.
movie sort of takes on a historical aspect for me because of all the artists.
You
that
found
are
it
in
education.
Right, I found educate, which is another reason why
I
I'm
found
saying
the
to
movie.
stream it.
I want to talk about how much I love the opening of the film.
Okay,
First of all, it opens like The Deer Hunter.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, are we about to go on a 3-hour
yeah.
Vietnam experience where people find the darkness of their souls?
And the angling of when the shots that they do in the beginning are actually kind of cool too.
Yeah,
From
it's
below,
so
with
dramatic.
the walking, and
the
you
shots
don't
throughout
see
the whole movie are
Belushi's
great.
face and anything.
It's shot really, really well. It's shot really funny, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. But I think that the thing that like seals it for me as being a great film is that you have all these great musical acts that are a lot of fun. Like they are fun scenes in themselves.
Yeah.
And then in between that, there's a lot of stuff that is just kind of like there's a little bit too much trying to get from point A to point B or trying to move the thing
film makes it
along.
very difficult to move itself along.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
they
does.
just drag things out.
No,
Right.
it does. But at the same time, there are some scenes in it that are those in between scenes that are absolutely incredible. The scene in the fancy restaurant where Belushi turns around and he's just like, "How much for your women?
Yeah.
How much for your little girl?
How much? I want to buy your daughters. How much?" It's like that entire scene is just beautiful.
That's great. I enjoyed most of him going around to pick up the things, but I just wish maybe
The
like
mu-
three
the
of the
other
musicians were in the
musicians, yeah.
same spot, maybe, and we just have one funny scene or
Nah,
something.
it's
Did
kind of.
anyone else, when they finished and they got the $5,000, where the stage guy, which is hilarious too,
Which, yeah,
because
that-
they filled the room already, so the money thing should be handled, but they're
Right.
still
Yeah.
like, that's what saves them is the record company guy coming by.
Yeah.
But did anyone else, they were like, all right, we got to go. It's 110 miles and we got to get there. I was like, oh, we're not in Chicago anymore? I thought we were still like relatively close to the adoption agency or whatever.
Yeah, no.
I was
guess
like,
not.
now I gotta wait for them to
No,
travel
but I
110
definitely-
miles.
I definitely had a moment where they were like, we're on Lower Wacker Drive. This is this thing. And I know Chicago's like layout, and I'm like, this is not how you get to Daily Plaza. Like, I just said
Was that where they
many moments of just being like, this is not how you drive.
Was
The
that where they
movie
filmed
is
The Dark
sloppy.
Knight?
It's a sloppy movie if you think about it. Like a lot of
I
those
also-
scenes are not necessary. A lot of them could be cut out.
It's just got a
which
lot of
is
fluff.
which is why you're right where you say it drags on. And I
Yeah.
completely agree. There are parts where it does drag on, but I think that overall the going from place to place, trying to put the band back together.
It's a great story, man.
It's a great, and it's a
great
simple story.
Yes.
It's just a simple
It's a story.
story.
Listen, this is a mission movie.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
so.
They're on a
Jay and
mission
Silent
from
Bob.
God.
They're on a mission from God. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Wayne's World, which are just, I mean, not the best examples, but they're mission movies and laden with cameos. This is like this is one of the earliest ones. I can't think of one before this where it was like, here's comedians who are going on a mission and we're going to throw movie stars in it and we're just going to write a lot of jokes and it'll make good money.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's good, but it's a good formula. You know
It's
what I mean?
less pressure, I feel, for like them. I think that when they made this movie, there's like, okay, we're on the top of our game comedically in terms of success as well. We have a lot of clout. We can do as we please.
It'd be hard to make a flop.
Well,
Right,
and
but
the
then
Blues Brothers was a
They didn't need to trim
beloved
fat because of it.
thing. Like, but the Blues Brothers as characters were already kind of beloved by
Yeah.
the country.
Yeah, that's what I'm
because
saying. They
were-
could. So that's why there's no
Reason to cut the fat.
exactly. There's no necessity to cut the fat whatsoever.
Well, you know what the reason is?
Mm.
Almost 40 years later, some jerk in his apartment is going to be talking about how Dan Aykroyd and John Landis and Belushi should have been like, you know what? We'll just take the short take on that one. We don't need to
Right.
do this now.
I'd imagine back in the day they didn't feel like editing. Editing was probably like just a pain in the butt.
Just leave it. I'm
Yeah,
done.
just, you know,
But
and I can.
you are right, though, Steven. There are points where I like that it drags. Like the opening, like I said, when he pulls up at a cop. First of all, picks him up at a cop car from prison. I'm like
The
already
irony.
sold on the movie. I
Right.
want to love this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's got that little bit of darkness to it. It's grim, but it's cool. You know what I mean? It's funny.
Mm.
But
Well, I kind of think
it's
that
just-
honestly, my favorite part, I like rewound it because it happened and I wasn't paying like full enough attention. Is the moment once they've got the money and they get into the car and he's like, "We got a full tank of gas, a half a pack of cigarettes, like full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's night and we have sunglasses on. Let's do this."
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
I just love all of the different like we're being really cool lines.
Yeah.
Because they're also
calling out their absurdities too.
they're calling out their absurdities, and also it's like that time period, especially like people talk about before SNL, the like that crew of people at Second City, and I've watched some people that are like this also, where it's just like they just own. It does not matter that they don't have any money; they just own the sidewalk, like they just own the city for whatever reason. Like people talk about Bill Murray like that, where it was like the guy could have nothing, and the moment that you met him, you'd be like, I want to be your friend, and I want to be near you. You're funny. You're amazing. I want to be your friend.
Yeah, because back then
And
that's who you were in front of, and when you were with that person, it was like, oh, this is cool. Like this is that opportunity. This is like, it's not like you can text your way into another situation or a better circumstance, or you know what I mean. Like that's what the circumstance is. So it's like, oh, this is what's happening right now. So it's kind of cool. It's better than anything else. It's just like, whereas you could capture the moment and sort of move on.
Yeah,
So-
and I think that that's one of the things I like about it is that like Chicago in the 80s, it was just such a different feel. Like Chicago in the 70s and the 80s was such a different feel than, Chicago today.
You're mad biased. There's no way we could take his opinion real. Like, you know what I mean?
He loves Chicago, man.
Yeah, he loves Chicago so much. And
he
there's
picked
nothing
Groundhog
wrong
Day.
with that.
Not even just
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
I know Groundhog Day wasn't in Chicago, but this guy's like got Midwest written all over.
Yeah,
him.
this guy,
Oh,
he's like
yeah.
very, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's very, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, any Second City or anyone with
Oh,
those
he loves
ties
it.
to.
Yeah. How many times?
I'm
do I gotta
sorry.
hear-
Right.
Well,
There's,
I'm sorry.
SNL.
We'll watch more, Jersey Shore movies with people from Long Island, or
I don't even
That's
know.
cold,
That's
bro.
not necessary.
That's cold.
No one said anything was wrong with it. I'm just saying your choices are
You
rigged,
love it.
and
the Second
my
City
choices
stuff.
are rigged because there's an entire generation of like nostalgic, amazing comedy that all came out of like one institutional comedic place.
As he heard him, all I hear is bias.
You know what I feel like this movie is perfect for? This movie is perfect for when you have like 10 people over and it's not a party, but people are hanging out and walking around and drinking and stuff. You play this movie.
Yes.
And you don't have to be paying attention, but if you are, people are laughing. Music comes on every once in a while.
Yes, this is a good part. Shut up.
If you got more than 8 people, stream it then. But if you're watching it alone, it's like...
I would never...
It's a long movie, man. It's a long trip.
This is the only time where I would say putting a movie on at a small gathering would be okay, because I don't like to have the TV on when I have people over. I'm adamantly against it.
So.
This would be the kind of movie where it's perfectly fine to have that on because of all the musical numbers. And I think I'm also biased in saying stream it because... culturally, the dance sequences, the kids in unison dancing on top of the cars, rage, it's like
I could get that elsewhere culturally.
Yeah, I know you can, but it's like something about it just kind of, I didn't understand why I liked it until somebody was like, I didn't like the dance numbers, and I'm like, I don't know why I did.
That's fair enough.
And now I know why I did.
I wanted to like it more, but I gotta take a hard stance.
You have to like dance.
It's just I grew up watching a lot of Indian movies, and that's in my childhood. So all I did, I watched a lot of Indian movies, and then it's like those dance numbers. That to me was like so normal.
If they could somehow combine a movie with dance numbers, spontaneous songs, and really bad special effects,
right,
you'd be so sold.
If Bloodsport had dance numbers, I'd be ready to go.
I bet that would make $1 million.
I will make that movie.
If someone made Bloodsport into like a stage.
Do you guys
want to
write Bloodsport the musical?
This is what's wrong with with things like Glee and Pitch Perfect. There's just not enough violence in them. That's the problem. So
you want more violence in your musicals? I get it.
I think that's a fair thing to ask.
I think so. I think that's cool.
So
Predator, the musical.
All right.
In retrospect, I'm not going to change my mind, guys.
Well, I wasn't expecting.
I don't hate this movie at all. I like it, but you know what? They made an extended version on DVD, and I'm like, what? Show me a shorter version. Show me a Show me edited. I don't know. Like the sound guy was like, this is a bit much, guys. And no one else was like going to say anything to Dan Aykroyd or Belushi, but he knew, and he cut the movie, and I could watch it on YouTube. It's 95 minutes long, and it's hilarious.
Oh, really?
No, it's not real, but I wish it was. Don't stream it unless you got 9 or 10 people over.
Steven, you're still sticking
I'm sticking with
Yeah,
Stream
I'm
It.
sticking with Stream It also. I think the historical aspect and the musical numbers alone kind of sway me to Stream It.
Yeah, I also think that it informs... So, I mean, historically as a movie, like within comedy, I think that it informs a lot of what came in, like, the 90s and later on.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I think Blues Brothers is, like, Blues Brothers is the reason why Wayne's World existed.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't have had Wayne's World without Blues Brothers.
Right.
I really want to see, I bet I would love Blues Brothers 2000, though.
With
my boy Jim Belushi.
I don't think I would.
That's my favorite Belushi. I'm just kidding. I
don't think I would. I watch.
I'm gonna crawl across the table and punch you in the face.
All right, so check out flicksbookclub.com for the website. Next week is my choice. We are going to be watching. Oh Lord, I just had this. Oh, here we go. The Grocer's Son.
Oh, Jesus, that sounds horrible.
This sounds like the saddest thing.
I'll watch it. It's either a horrible horror movie or a really bad indie drama. That's my guess.
Okay.
Question, is it a Bollywood movie?
No, it's not a Bollywood movie. It's
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that's
sure?
I'm I had to double check.
He's looking for new movies.
Right. It's not even it came
Wolf
out
Cop.
2007. I mean, it's not even that old. But yeah, I want to see what it's about. I'm kind of interested.
All right, The Grocer's Son.
The Grocer's Son, man.
Let's do it. Watch that. Go to the website.
All right.
Tweet us. We'll see you next week.
Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.